Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. This is Fahad Mirza, and in this video I am going to show you yet another tool which is now using the power of AI to make life easier. This tool, DockerShrink, addresses a real world problem, and I have experienced that problem firsthand, so I can really appreciate the thing which this tool does. So what is happening here? The thing is that if you have built a Docker container, or if you have worked in an environment where there are hundreds and maybe thousands of Docker containers, one of the major issue is the performance of those containers, because more often than not these containers can become quite huge. The reason being is that, especially when it comes to the languages like Python and Node.js and stuff, the Docker image can get really bloated. What it means is that the size could get quite bigger because of the dependencies being used, or maybe the base image which is being used is quite huge, and that is where this Docker shrink helps. So what happens is that this tool is focused on removing unnecessary things from the final Docker image created. What it does is it uses multi-stage builds to add a final stage, it uses a light base image in the final stage, and it removes unwanted dependencies and files from the final stage only. So you can continue to do whatever you want in the previous stages, but the final image produced by this Docker shrink has a much smaller size. Now the thing is that you can use this Docker shrink without any AI. It will just use some rule based stuff to reduce the size of the images and remove all the unnecessary clutter. But in my opinion, if you use AI power with its CLI, it really reduces the size a lot. And when I say a lot, I really mean a lot. We all know that in our development or production environment, managing these lot of containers is a pain in the back. High data storage, transfer cost, longer build times, unproductive developers, you name it, this is a real pain point in almost every organization, because almost every organization now using these containers in one way or another. So especially with these interpreted languages like Node.js and Python. And that is where this helps out, because Docker Shrink aims to automatically apply advanced optimization techniques, so we don't have to really worry about wasting time and just trying to implement some of the best practices. Okay, so we will be using this Docker Shrink with OpenAI's model. I don't see any option of using any local models. I think that shouldn't be too hard because APIs are compatible. So you would need to go to platform.openai.com and grab your API key if you are following along. As I said, you can even use it without it. So let's try to get it installed and then we will see how it works. Before that, let me give a huge shout out to Master Compute, who are sponsoring the VM and GPU for this video. If you're looking to rent a GPU on very affordable prices, I will drop the link to their website in video's description. Plus, I'm also going to give you a coupon code of 50% discount on a range of GPUs. This is my Ubuntu system, and this is my GPU card, NVIDIA RTX A6000 with 48 GB of VRAM. Of course, as I am using OpenAI's model, I won't be using GPU for this video. As usual, let's create a virtual environment so that everything would remain separate from our local installation. Okay, so first up, let's install the Docker shrink. It's a very simple command, pip install Docker shrink. You can even use pipx if you use that. It's quite lightweight. That's already done as we were speaking. Now, in order to show you in real time, so what I'm going to do, first I'm going to create a big Docker image with all the issues like heavy base image, lot of dependencies and that of stuff. And then we will use this Docker shrink to optimize that, and then we will see how it works. So let's do it. Let me clear the screen. Let me go to another directory, and then I'll just say it maybe make directory my doc test. I just want to keep everything in this, that's why I'm creating it. Okay, so first allow me to create a Docker file, or maybe I will just open it in the VS Code. It will be easier to work there. So this is my VS Code. Let's first create a Docker file with all the issues which we mentioned shortly. So this is a Docker file, and then let me paste all the issues there. So you see we are using large base image, we are using lot of dependencies, and then we are copying the whole directory, installing all the dependencies. So all the issues are there. So let me save this Docker file. Okay, so that is done. Let's also create a package.json file. As I mentioned earlier, this tool only works with Node.js based containers at the moment, but I'm sure it will grow more. So this is a package.json which specifies all the dependencies and stuff. And then let's also create an index.js with a simple express.js server. So I'm just going to create a file here. If you would know what exactly this means if you are a Node developer. And then I've just simply created this, and now we can maybe build it with something like on from our terminal. So I've saved all of these files. I'm already in this directory. So let me run this command in order to build this. Let's wait for it and we will see the size of this image. This is going to take a bit of a time because it downloads the whole Ubuntu here. And of course, in order to build this, you would need to install Docker first. If you don't know how to install Docker, just go to my channel and then search with Docker or something. I have done heaps of videos on Docker in the last 1 or 2 years. So you should be able to find a video in a very, very simple, easy way to install it locally. Okay, so let's go back. It is still building, so I will just wait for it to finish. And it has built the image here. Let me now run the command docker images, and there you go. So the size is of this example app which we have just built is 969 megabyte. So you see it is quite big, it's not light at all. And you can even use docker inspect command to check out the size. So size is quite huge, 969 meg. Let's clear the screen and try to optimize it with this DockerShrink tool. First up, I am setting my OpenAI's API key. So let me set it and clear the screen. And if you do ls-ltr here, you will see that we have this Docker file in current directory. So we can run this DockerShrink optimize command. So it is going to look for Docker file in the current directory. So let's run it. It is going to create a new directory here, Docker optimized, and then it is going to check it out. So you see it already has done it. It's very, very fast too. So you see implemented multi-state builds. It has been applied to the Docker file. A new state has been added, and then it has done the dependency check and all that stuff. So if I clear the screen and do ls-ltr, you should see that we have this new directory DockerShrink. And then if I do ls-ltr, there is a new Docker file which you can check. So let's go to our VS Code. Let's go in this directory. Let's check our new Docker file. So there you go. So it's a multi-stage build. So for example, we are getting that Ubuntu, we're installing everything, and then we are building a new stage from it, and we are only taking the slim image. So you see we are using the slim, and then all the dependencies have been shrunk down and only is being used what is needed here. So if you closely look at this file Docker file generated by the Docker shrink, this has done the key optimization here. It has done multi-state build because the first state, which is a build one, installed Node.js and dependencies, and then there is a second state that uses a smaller base image which is Node 18 Slim and copies only the necessary files. Also, the second state is using Node 18 Slim as a base image which is much smaller than the original Ubuntu latest image. Also, the npx dep check command is used to check for unnecessary dependencies here, as you can see. And then the npm install only production command installs only the dependencies required for the production, reducing the overall size. And then copy from build, this one, it is this command is only copying the necessary files from the build stage to the final image. And let's see how much different it has made to our Docker image. Let me run it. Let's go to the terminal in that directory, and then from here let me build this. So I'm just using this docker build dash t optimized one, and this should even take lesser time. So because that is the beauty of it, not only it should be reducing the size, but also it should be reducing the build time. And it's done. Let me clear the screen. And now let's check the size of the image. So I'll just do images. It will show both of them, and there you go. So the example app is 969 meg. The new one is optimized one is just 197 MB. So how good is that? So that is like 80% reduction in the size of the image, because it is close to, if my math is correct, around 772 MB. It has saved just for this image. How good is that? And you can imagine it was very fast too. You can implement it on your whole Docker repository, wherever it is, in Bitbucket or GitHub, and then you can reduce the sizes. Not only it is reducing the size, reducing the cost, but also making developers life easier. One heads up, it is using OpenAI's model, so it could be it will be incurring the cost, so keep an eye on there, but I don't think so it will cost you much more than that, especially with the new one, the $200 pro plan which they have recently introduced. Anyway, that's it. I hope that you enjoyed it. Let me know what do you think about this tool. Really good stuff. If you like the content, please consider subscribing to the channel. If you're already subscribed, please share it among your network, as it helps a lot. Thank you for watching.